Well, these shards aren't going to pull themselves. Hello everyone, Bront, CatHerder here. We're having some fun talking Raid Shadow Legends. We are here on the free-to-play account, or the free-to-pause account as it were, and we are here to pull some shards because we have a progressive chance, I believe it is, and some interesting champions. I'm actually kind of excited about one of them on this particular account. And of course we have the Summon Rush event. Now, I'm a little disappointed, as you can kind of see here around me. Looks like Glensage Citril is 7 sacred shards, and then Narak's Blackhorn is 12. So that's a little disappointing. Generally, I expected him to be closer to this 5,600 points. Now he's technically more than 12, but that's not that much more than 12, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, I guess he's a void, so 7 seems okay-ish, but seems a little rough. Definitely a little less accessible, particularly for given this is part of a big event. They're trying to push people to get this champion because of the points you can earn in the special event, and the fact that they are actually giving this champion away for free seems like it's a bad time for them to go very stingy on the events. So a little frustrating from Polarium. But first of all, I want to show you one other thing. So we have a new promo code, Midsummer, and it gives us, what, 5-star chicken, 50 energy, and some silver. Not the most exciting, but a 5-star chicken is actually pretty cool. I'm not going to complain about 50 energy. Certainly I would like more. It feels like they certainly could give a lot more. But a 5-star chicken is actually a pretty good deal for anybody but a really, really late game account where 5-star chickens are easy. So for me, I am actually looking forward to that because wow, I've got 8 5-star chickens built up. I didn't realize I had that many 5-star chickens. I can make several 6 stars, maybe during this champion training event. There is a champion training event going on. So maybe I will get absolutely lucky and we'll get somebody really cool. Now from the progressive, we're going to be pulling 12. I've got 15 sacreds right here, as you can see. There's a couple of really good champions here. Now, Lady Kimmy's probably, unfortunately, the worst of the bunch, which is really sad because Lady Kimmy's got a really fun kit. Feral is probably the best from an endgame perspective. He gives you the increased resistance. He gives you the block buffs. He gives you extra damage. Problem is he doesn't have a revive. He doesn't have healing. And for the way this account has shaped up so far, I would prefer to have a reviver or a healer, which means I would prefer maybe to have the Mighty Uko. Mighty Uko does the block buffs and the strip. Unfortunately, the block buffs is somewhat conditional, but he's got a really good revive and a good aura, a very good champion overall, particularly because you can put him in some of the sets that are helpful in Hydra and have him be your provoker in Hydra as well as your reviver, as well as your block buffs champion. He's not perfect as a block buffs champion, but he's not bad. This guy looks pretty interesting. He's got the block debuffs and increased speed on a 3-turn cooldown for 2 turns. He's got block buffs and a lockout for the block active skills. Could be very interesting. But I'm actually looking at this dude here because this dude gives me a block damage champion, which means I might be able to build a clan boss team around him. He might be able to replace Demitha. I don't think he can directly because Demitha also does a buff increase on one of her skills and he does not do that. But regardless, I think he will help my clan boss team because he will bring block damage. He brings increased defense. He brings decreased defense. He brings, I believe brings another skill as well with that. And he also brings some A1 healing. He also brings some damage mitigation or some damage increase if everyone is healthy, both of which will actually help my clan boss team. So that's great. As far as the epics are concerned, I would not complain about duplicate Ugos because, Ugo is great. So I eventually wouldn't mind building a second Ugo. But right now, I don't have either Phoenix or Licinia. Licinia is a Mikage fusion champion, so I am going to go for her, and then I will change up if I get a copy of her. So she is unfortunately the least useful of these right here, but, she will actually be at least usable as a Mikage epic on this account, so I'm not going to complain too much about that. So as we do on this channel, we are going to crack open a Pepsi right here. Not a sponsor, but Pepsi you could be. Think about it. It would be absolutely amazing. Pepsi is going to bring us plenty of Legos, as is RNGesus. Allah be his name. And we have room for exactly 12. That was not planned, but that is appropriate. So we have exactly 12. So we are going to be pulling shards until I don't have room anymore, apparently. So let's get something cool. With 12 of them, I would hope to get at least one legendary. I don't know where my Mercy is, but with 12 of them, I will actually get into Mercy in some form. I'm very sure my last Sacred was not a legendary. So let's get something cool. And honestly, again, on this account, good epics will go far. So I want good champions. Even if I end up not getting a legendary, I may be mildly disappointed, but you know, Seekers would be nice. Seekers are absolutely amazing for some of the clan boss teams out there. You know, I would like another decreased defense. I would like a Duck the Pierced would be great. You know, some of the revivers for the factions I'm kind of struggling with would be great. There's all kinds of really good champions that would absolutely help this account. We're thinking of faction wars. We're thinking about progression. So this account could use just about anything that pulls out of here. So let's get some good stuff. Well, okay, Illusinia, done. That's good. Alrighty, let's change you to Fennex, because I don't have a Fennex. So, new Fennex would be good. Variety is good, and he's a good champion, too. Hits really, really hard on that A1. He's got a block revive. That is the White Bear. I do not like the White Bear. Both bears are not great, but this one is not good at all. Decreased crit rate, decreased turn meter, block active skills in the A1 at a 10%, bookable 35%, 30% chance. No, thank you. All right, let's get something better than the bear. I said something better than the bear. Rain Beast is not good. Rain Beast at one point in time was the best champion in the game, which seems really weird. And of course, they did nerf him because he's an epic. And they nerfed him so hard that he is not usable anymore. So, all right. Snorting Thug, not particularly great. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 30% chance of stealing a random buff. Nah, not horrible. Nord defense, if they have no active buffs, steals 2 random buffs on the target. And 30% chance of stealing a random buff from the attacker when hit. Not great. Just not a great champion. Definitely an old school. Let's get something cool. Let's get something cool. Visionary is also not something cool. She's okay. She was the first champion with, well, this, not the first champion with this kit, but it's a weird kit. Decreased crit rate and decreased crit damage, and then increased crit rate, increased crit damage. Seems like it might be interesting in the ally speed and dungeons, not a bad aura, but just, no, not really. Just not, never proved to be very interesting. She does have 2 AoE. Well, this is not an AoE, this is a turn meter fill too. It's not a horrible kit. I don't want to say it's a horrible kit. There are uses for this skill. It's just not a great skill. It's not the type of skill you want to be relying on for most teams, because you don't want to rely on increased crit rate unless you're building a team around her. So let's get something cool. Let's get something cool. Siren. I don't remember her kit very well. Let's see what she's any good at. Poison on the A1, 40% chance on each hit, so bookable 50%, so not horrible if you need some poisons. Single target weaken, not particularly great. AoE decreased defense. Okay, she for a while was one of the only AoE decreased defense champions that was not a legendary. She may still be in this faction. There's multiple legendaries that do increased or decreased defense, so she's not that great. 80% chance is not worth the books, even on a 3-turn cooldown, most likely. Okay, maybe she might get some builds. She, I mean, to be fair, she does at least have an AoE. She's got some poisons and other skills that are kind of useful. So maybe she might find a way onto my Faction War team, depending on what I need right now. My Faction War team on the Shadowkin is not great. And to be fair, she probably would replace a couple of champions that are not great, that I have not invested anything in so far. So she might, you know, stay 4-star and be useful on this account a little bit. So, but that is not what we're looking for, Polarium. We are looking for better champions to progress this account. Now, I've got 9 shards left. I'm saving 3 of these, so I've got 6. So we're about halfway through. So, Polarium, let's get something actually helpful for this account. Fenicil, not good either. Attacks all enemies, decrease the duration of enemy buffs by 1 turn. Yeah, just, some healing. Not what I need on this account. I've got better champions that do what he does better. Come on, let's get something cool. Well, okay, Moz Mage is at least better than what we've been getting so far. The problem is I think this is my 3rd Moz Mage, so I guess maybe he'll get empowered on this account. I don't know. Maybe honestly, I'm probably holding on to all my epics until I finish up Faction Guardians, I should say, on every faction first. So I'll probably hold on to him for a bit, but do not need a Moz Mage. But he does have a cleanse, he does have a heal, he does have a turn meter fill with all those, so that's not a bad skill. And then he's got a increased crit rate, increased damage, and block debuff skill for 1 turn. So he's got some good uses. He's very good for seer teams if you need all the buffs, for example. He does have the cleanse, which can be very helpful in some content as well. He's worth building on. He's probably still worth building on this account, and I have not had a chance to build him yet, but he's not great either, and I don't need anybody in Undead. Undead is done. So come on, let's get something cool. Hey, nut braids. Thank you. There we go. All right, Fennex. Now, this is something useful. Now, I've actually finished this faction, so that's one of the reasons I was kind of on pulling Sacred Order. But he's a good champion, and it is really all about his A1, which has an extra chance to place a hit if the target has any debuffs, and enemies killed by the skill cannot be revived once he's ascended. That hits really hard. This is one of the harder hitting A1s in the game, including legendaries. And then, yeah, he has an AoE attack with block buffs and block active skills. Not too bad. And he's got a single target, decreased defense, and decreased speed. He's not the greatest champion in the world, but he is a very good champion. He will certainly probably get some love on this account because I'm sure I can use him for some different challenges. He will be useful in Centranos because it's nice to have multiple different damage dealers. I don't know if I'm going to invest in him right away, but everyone deserves nub raids on their account. So that is good. We are going to go change one more time because now I want Dupogos. Because now I could use a secondary Ugo or even a 3rd Ugo for another Hydra clan boss team, as well as for the Ogren faction, because the Ogren faction I have is kind of struggling, and part of it is just because I don't have particularly great champions in there. A secondary Ugo would be better than some of the champions I'm using right now. So we have 3 left. We have not gotten a legendary yet. And here's the thing. Before we actually finish with the shard pulling, I post these shard pull videos regardless of what I get because I like to share in both the joy and the misery of pulling shards. Not every shard pull you're going to do is going to be a banger. And in fact, some cases like the past couple with this account right now have been actually majorly disappointing. But that doesn't mean you can't make do with what you get. Sometimes you learn to use the champions you actually have, and sometimes you might find a gem that was better than you thought they were at doing a job, because Polarium has done a very good job of giving us a big variety of champions that all do enough stuff similarly, but with their own unique quirks, that there's a large different section of champions you can use for a lot of different accounts and for a lot of different content. So if you see a champion you want me to build on this account, let me know. I will certainly see what I can do with the free-to-play stuff. Hopefully I pull somebody interesting. I would love to pull this new dude just because I think he's going to be a banger on this particular account. And certainly I would love to actually get all of these champions as well because, there's some cool stuff you get with it. But, all right, let us pull. We've got 3 left. Let's see if we can get a legendary. Go. That is not a legendary. That is a Facomorph. AKA not Dracomorph. I may end up building one of these guys. Drake brings some damage. Not a lot of damage, but he brings some damage. The problem is my lizardmens are so bad that he might be an improvement. And he's got an A1 that grants an extra turn if a target is killed. So that's not too bad if you're building for some damage. Single target here, the target has less than 50% HP. The attack is always critical, not something you can count on. So that really might as well just not be there. Although actually this might work against bad affinity. So I guess that's not the worst thing in the world. And then he's got a single. Okay, I take that back. Drake is terrible. I thought he had an AoE on one of these skills. He can hit decently hard for single target damage, but I don't need single target damage because I've got some single target damage and even some AoEs. I just don't have a lot of damage on my lizardmen. So nope, Dracomorph straight to the vault. Or not Dracomorph, just Drake. There's a dupe Ugo. There we go. Awesome. All right. Ugo is an amazing, amazing champion. This is the best champion I've pulled so far, other than maybe Fennex, for this account at least. A1 Leech, very, very helpful. It's only a 35% chance. It increases by 5% for each alive enemy. So it's actually a minimum of 40% chance. It can be pretty high. In Hydra, it's effectively a 55% chance, 60 if you put Sniper on her. It's not a bad chance. It's not a great chance, but it's nice to have. It's a nice little support tool that you can have on your character. Decreased defense and block buffs, two very, very good abilities. Block buffs is not 100% chance. It is 75% chance, and then Sniper gets it to 80%, and then it's by each enemy alive. So with Sniper, it is 100% chance to land block buffs in Hydra, which is where you want it. Overall, still very, very good kit overall. And then we get to this, which is removes all heal reduction as well as one additional debuff from all allies, then heals all allies by 20% of this champion's max HP. And if everybody is dead, this revives them with a 50% HP and then fills their turn meter by 50% instead. So she has a bailout revive. I have used it a couple times. It is so clutch when it happens. It is really hard to count on. She also has the places an increased speed and block damage debuff on this champion for one turn whenever this champion is the last living ally killed. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool as well. That's why you often see me, if I ever build her in teams, she'll often be the last person on the team, because if she is the last person on the team, she will sometimes take damage last, meaning that she'll get this passive out before she takes damage, and therefore won't actually die and has a chance for the revive to happen. Again, not great, but you know, she's got good stats. She can do okay damage. She brings a lot of buffs and debuffs that you need. Ugo is absolutely amazing, and I will certainly actually be building a second one on this account, not only for the Ogryn faction, because I think that will be better than some of the champions I'm currently using on the Ogryn faction, but also eventually for Hydra, because I could use a second one for Hydra. All right, we got one left. One shard and a dream. Come on, Pepsi. Come on, Polarium. Don't let me down. And as is always, we get duplicates of absolutely amazing champion. Rector Drath, to be fair, is a champion I could consider building two of for Hydra on this account once I'm ready to invest in a second Hydra team. What does she do? Well, Rector Drath is one of the few epics with perfect veil for 2 turns on everybody. Now, it is conditional that they have to be on full HP, but she does a 20% HP heal based on her max HP. Plus, you can get an extra 20% for it here, so it can actually be a 24% heal. Plus, with masteries, you can get it to 25, higher than that. And then you get the perfect veil, and otherwise you get a continuous heal for 1 turn, which feels very less exciting, because with that perfect veil, she then has a passive where she is healing people by 10% of their max HP on every turn they take a turn under perfect veil. So they actually get more healing under the perfect veil, and they get the perfect veil if it lands. I really wish this was just a 2-turn cooldown. She is still an absolutely amazing champion. She also has a perfect veil and a 3-turn perfect veil with a 60% HP and 60% turn meter revive on a 4-turn cooldown. It's one of the better epic single target revives, and the perfect veil means they're going to continue to get healed, and they will not be the target to most single target attacks that can, unless everybody else is under a veil as well. Plus, it means they are protected for Hydra from fears. And then on top of that, you know, it's an okay chance to land decrease attack, but I've actually found that having enough accuracy on her to land that decrease attack has been very useful in Hydra, because quite often she's going to use this A1 anyway. So you might as well get a 50% chance to land decrease attack. Gives you a little more survivability. Very good overall. So yeah, that was a summoning session. That's probably the best way to describe it. So we go into Faction Guardians here. I do have my Ugos, so that's going to give me a little more attack on my Ogryn Epics, which is not really going to help me that much. But, you know, like, she is probably going to replace Cagebreaker in my Faction Wars team, who doesn't, I don't think even has gear on. That's kind of how bad he is. And then we got Knights Rev. Ooh, I've got a lot of duped Knights Revs. Hey, that is actually a good Faction Guardian for me. So I'm not going to be too disappointed about that. So, you know, did I get anything to help my account? No, surprisingly. That's actually pretty, well, that's not true. I got a Mikage Epic, which is good. In fact, I probably should actually find that Mikage Epic and make sure that we can stack her. So Mikage Epic, that is you right there. Unlock you, go to the tavern, relock you, go to champions, and send you to the vault. So yeah, so we got Siren, could be helpful in Faction Wars. We got Ugo, could be helpful in Faction Wars, will be helpful in Hydra eventually. We got a Phoenix, very good for general content. I don't know where I'm going to use him specifically, but he will be useful, I'm sure, on this account because he's a good champion. Yeah, and that's kind of the highlights of what we got. So the highlights of what we got were the 3 champions there, plus a duplicate Rector Drath, which is certainly not the worst duplicate to get as well. So, hey, you know, you live, you learn, you keep on pulling. We are still guaranteed an amazing legendary in Tholin Foulbeard, because right now we are on pace to pull him. So, you know, that will be good. I just do need to do, I just need to do 100 more of these things here, and we should be good to go. I am going to save my sacreds because I think we are eventually going to have a Titan event for his soul, and I would like to get at least his 4-star soul, if not his 5-star soul on this account, and that is probably going to mean I'm going to need to pull on another summon rush. Meanwhile, I'm now close enough to Mercy that I might actually think about pulling out a 1+1, because I'm now 12 more into Mercy plus whatever I had into Mercy beforehand. So, you know, it is what it is. Not every shard pull is going to be a banger. And, you know, I'm definitely a little disappointed and a little sad. But, you know, I am going to, you know, we'll go on. I'm not going to stop playing Raid over one bad shard pull session. It's not a thing. Eventually, I'll get some good champions. I've already got some great champions on this account. So, you know, not every time you're not going to get lucky. Hey guys, quick interruption here, but we are back. We are going to pull one more because I have decided that actually the one more gets me a chance to get the legendary book. And on this account, legendary books are going to be absolutely gold. So that is going to help this account enough that I think pulling the one extra shard is worth it. Plus, again, we are actually well into Mercy at this point in time. So, hey, there's at least a 10% chance we pull a legendary out of this. So we still have our Pepsi here. We are ready to pull. Let's see if we can get a legendary on this last sacred. We have one. We have a dream. Let's go. And that is an Iranis. Actually, not horrible. Now, Iranis is not a great champion. You know, attacks AoE with, or not AoE, it's a single target with poisons. At least, yeah, it's a decent chance of poison. That's not bad. AoE attack here, not horrible, but not great. Increase the duration of all debuffs on the target by 1 turn. Doesn't suck, but not a great champion. 4-turn cooldown. And then places block buffs for 1 turn on a single target attack. Not great, but I believe that is, yes, that is rosin food. So I now am closer to rosin. So I've got 2 of the epics, and so I need 4 more rares and or 2 more epics to be able to fuse rosin, which, you know, may not seem like a great thing because rosin is certainly not a great champion as much as he used to be at the moment, but rosin is still a damage dealer for lizardmen, and I need anything that would be an improvement in lizardmen. Rosin would probably instantly take me from stage 9 in lizardmen, or maybe stage 10 or 11, probably to stage 16 or 17 pretty instantly. So he would actually be very helpful for my account, at least for Faction Wars, if not for some other stuff as well. You eventually do need to fuse him for some of the Ramantu missions as well, so not too bad. So hey, I'm not going to complain too much about that. These were not pulls that were certainly going to help my account directly, but hey, I got some stuff that'll actually still help me make progress in the account, and so you can always look on the bright side. Hey, hopefully you guys get lucky. Hopefully I have sacrificed my luck so that you can get something amazing. Let me know what you get down below. Let me know how you're doing on the Tholin Fusion, or if you're not doing the Tholin Fusion, what you're doing instead. Love to hear about it. I will be working on things like the event dungeons, so I should have some videos up soon. Unfortunately, because of work and then just struggling to get some stuff done, this dungeon is very, very hard, so I couldn't get my level 29 or 30 teams to be as 100% I was like before I made a video. And I want to get a little bit of variety, and I haven't had a chance to fight with it yet on the free-to-play either. So you guys take care, have a great day, have some great shard pulls, have a Pepsi, and until the next video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'm Bront CatHerder.